Good evening, everyone. Already a pleasure to say a good Erev Shabbos Kamat. Reb Krause, it's good to have you. It's good to have you. You know, when you weren't here by the daf, we missed you. You know, the seat is warm for you. It's always great to have my brother-in-law Shmuley here. See, we're so excited to have you sit next to the shver that we knocked out a leg of the table. We mamish knocked out a leg of the table. You know, it says Hinei matoiv umanoim sheves achim gam yochad. It doesn't have to say Hinei matoiv umanoim ovu ben yachad, because that's natural. Brothers, that could be a challenge. Achim hamizgorim zem zeh. There could be a natural sibling rivalry. But an of and a ben, right, that's normal. That's a natural thing. Also, it's you know, I want to tell you, Aaron, if we could duchen, we would duchen. If we could duchen now, I mean, it's wonderful to have you. We can't duchen, but if we could duchen, yeah, if we could duchen, we would break out the duchening for you. Okay, I'm recording now because tonight we're going to have a chok after the daf, and it's a really special chok. I mean, besides that, we're going to learn the 8th parak of Menachos, and we're going to learn a very, very important Gadati Gemara from Menachos, but there's a Zohar about the saying of Ketairis, that if a person learns the Zohar about saying the Ketairis, they wouldn't be able to not say the Ketairis twice a day. They just wouldn't be able not to do it. It's mamish. So anyway, that'll be later tonight at about 9:30. If you're not here, you can join via Zoom by going to zoomdaf.com. We have a very interesting two Mishnayos here, as we learn Mishna Zayin and Mishna Ches, finishing the third parak of Sotah. We're already finishing the third parak of Sotah, and Rabbi Friedman, we welcome the Zaidi of the year back. It's good to have you. You know why you get the title of Zaidi of the year? Because you were with your grandchildren, you came back smiling. So, you know, we're dedicated by the Fisher family, Nishmas Basi Bas Rabbi Shlomo ben Avram Halevi Perel Bas Ruvain, and also Lili Nishmas Avram Yishai ben Ishmael Yosef, L'Refu Shalem Efer Yomis Mechayisar, for the Schus of Avram and Yom Benish ben Malki Hudis, by Yol Klugman and family, and Refuah Shalema for Meir ben Chayesara. Now, in the previous Mishnah, we learned that the mincha of a kayin is always burnt. There is no kmitza from the mincha of a kayin. That's a halacha of a mincha of a kayin. If it's a kohenes, however, that's married to Yisrael, her mincha has a kmitza taken. And this is going to open up a subject of the differences between a kohenes and a kayin. So, Bas Yisrael shenisas l'kayin, a Bas Yisrael that married to a kayin, and she's an Isha Sotah. So we said that her mincha has a duality. On the one hand, since it's her mincha, it needs a kmitza, because she's a Yisraelis. And on the other hand, since the husband bought it for her, it's a minchas kayin. So we say that what we do is we take a kmitza, we burn it on the mizbeach, and then we take the rest of it. You can't burn it on the mizbeach because kol shemimenu leishim harihu babal taktiru. The rest of it we burn b'makayim adeshin. So Bas Yisrael shenisas l'kayin minchas and refes. However, the kohenes shenisas l'Yisrael, if she's a kohenes her mincha we take a kmitza from. So kohenes shenisas l'Yisrael minchas and echelas. We take a kmitza, put on the mizbeach, and the shirayim are eaten by the kohen. Ma ben kohen l'kohenes. Oh, once we opened up the Pandora's box, what's the difference between a kohen and a kohenes? So minchas kohenes necheles, as we just said, the mincha of a kohenes we take a kmitza from. If she brings a mincha, we take a kmitza from, and the shirayim are eaten. Minchas kohen, but the mincha of a kohen is kula nisrefes on the mizbeach, and therefore eina necheles. There's no shirayim that are eaten. Kohenes mischaleles. This is a very fascinating halacha. If a kohenes sleeps with a forbidden relationship, like, for example, if, let's say, she slept with a brother, or if she, as a grusha, married a kohen, she becomes mischaleles, she becomes a chalala, and she's forbidden to eat truma. However, kohen ain't mischala. Very interesting thing. A kohen that has a forbidden relationship, he does not become a chalal. We learned this out from Psukim. He continues to be allowed to eat truma. Kohenes mitama l'meisim. This is also very interesting. I could tell you a memory. I was a brand new Rav, 42 years ago, whatever it is, and I had a levaya, and it was a levaya of kohanim, and I didn't know the halacha that a kohenes cannot be mitam. So I had to look it up. It's this Mishna, but I had to look it up. Kohenes could go in. They asked me, will you be able to go in? So I quickly looked it up. There was no Google in those days, but I quickly looked it up, and it's this Mishna. Kohenes mitam l'meis. There's no din. It's this week's parsha. Emor ela kahanim b'nei Aaron, right? B'nei Aaron v'lei b'nei Aaron. It's this week's parsha. You have to learn things. You can't know everything at one shot. It's important. There's a skill that you have to get as a Rav, and that is lamed l'shoincha loimer eini yodea. I'm very good at that. I'm very good at saying I don't know. So it says lamed l'shoincha loimer eini yodea, because if not, what's the alternative? Shema tisbade. You might make up something. Tisbade means invent. Shema tisbade, and then v'teyachis, and then you'll get caught. Right? So never make things up. If you don't know, say I don't know. It's okay. The Gemara gives us an example many times where it says loy hava biyodei. Why do you think the Gemara embarrasses the person loy hava biyodei? Because it's telling you if these great people don't know everything, it's okay not to know everything. So anyway, kohenes mitam l'meisim, the ein kohen mitam l'meisim. Kohen can't become tamei. He can't go into the Beis HaKvaris, right? That's why the kohanim are buried at the edge usually, because the kohen are the families otherwise won't be able to go. Kohen oichel b'kachei kachim. This is another interesting thing. Although a kohenes can eat certain portions, but not kachei kachim. In other words, the shirayim of a mincha, the portions of a chatas or an osham cannot be eaten. It could only be eaten by zichrei kahuna ba'azara. So kohenes eina oichel kohen oichel b'kachei kachim. A kohen could eat kachei kachim. The ein kohenes oicheles b'kachei kachim. Now the chaz of a sheikh, the breast and the shank of the shlamim, which are given to the kohen, that the whole family could eat. The shlamim is kachim kalim. Kachim kalim the women could eat. But kachei kachim, that only zikrei kahuna in the azara. Now, the Mishnah gets even bolder. Okay, now that you told me what's the difference between a kohen and a kohenes, ma bein ish le'isha. What's the difference between a man and a woman? That's a pretty, big question. Today they'll tell you there's no difference. It's not politically correct to say. What do you mean? It's not a fireman anymore. It's a fire person, right? There's no such thing. Right? They want to change everything. But we know there is differences. So ma bein ish le'isha. So here is an interesting difference in tzaras. Ho'ish poreya uforeim. A man who's a mitzayra has to let his hair grow. He has to rend his garments. Ve'eno isha paras u'foremes. We learn out from Psukim that a woman doesn't let her hair grow, doesn't tear her clothing. We learned this in Masechtas Nazir, that there's a Gzeris HaKosev, that you could impose Naziris on your child, on a cotton, mitam chinuch. But that's only a father could do. A mother can't do that. Ish madres b'nai b'nazir. A father could impose Naziris on his son. The son could refuse it, or the relatives could refuse it. But ve'eno isha madres es b'nai b'nazir. A woman cannot impose Naziris on her child. Now, we also learned that in certain situations, there's also Gzeris HaKosev, in certain, not Gzeris HaKosev, it's Halach L'Moshe Misinai. It's Halach L'Moshe Misinai that in certain situations, a son could use the money of that his father put away, unspecified money. If his father put away for Naziris and the father died, he could bring his karbanas for his own Naziris with his father's money. But this is only a privilege given to a son and not a daughter, even if she's the Irish. So, ha'ish megaleach al Naziris aviv, a son could use the funds that his father put away for his karbanas if the father died, so the son could use it for his own Naziris. But ve'ena isha megaleches al Naziris avia. A daughter cannot, although she could become a Nazira, she cannot use that unspecified money. Ha'ish meicheres bichai. We know that this is a unusual law of the Torah, on Amavriya, that a father could sell his daughter before she's a Nara. It's called an Amavriya. While Ve'eno Isha Meicheres Es Bita, a mother cannot sell her. And by the way, this sheds incredible light in the din of Amavriya. Because usually the din of Amavriya was when there was no mother around. He's a young widower, and he has nobody to take care of her. And he has to go to work. What's going to be with her? So by putting her in a good family, that protects her. If there's a mother around, that's not necessary. That's just a little bit of an insight into it. But a man could sell his daughter. A woman cannot sell her daughter. Ha'ish mekadesh is bita. A man midaraisa could accept marriage for his daughter. That means if she's a katana, he could accept cash or whatever on behalf of his daughter and marry her off, but a mother cannot. There is a din drabanan that she could, if she's a yisayma, that the mother or the brothers could accept, and that's where miyun comes in, because that's only the rabbanan, so then she could walk away with miyun. So, but ve'ena isha mekadesh says bita midaraisa. Ha'ish niskal aram. A man is stoned unclothed, with one little shift in front of him and nothing in back of him, but he's stoned basically unclothed. Ve'ena isha niskeles aruma. A woman is not stoned unclothed. After the stoning, we learn out from a pasuk that before we bury the person that's stoned, we hang him up. We don't leave him overnight, but we hang him up. This din of hanging up one who is stoned is only by a man and not by a woman. Ha'ish nisle, ve'eno isha nisles. And finally, we know that there's a din of nimker bezdin. If somebody steals and he can't pay, then he's sold, and the money is used to compensate the victim. And this is the Torah's rehabilitation of putting him in a healthy home in order to make sure, and the one who buys him has to take care of the wife and the children also, and he's allowed to give his shifcha kananis and have the children as part of the payment. But this din of nimker bezdin is only a ish nimker b'gnei, only a man is sold into servitude. Ve'eno isha nimkeres b'gnei vasa, but a woman is not sold into servitude even if she did rob a lot of money. I just want to say that on Shabbos, We will continue our very successful shir, Pirkei Avos shir, but this week it's going to be 15 minutes later at 6:15. And as always, I want to thank Gedalia for making sure to have the schedules for us. I mean, he's really, even the week that he married off his daughter, I mean, he's really rock steady. We're very lucky to have you in many, many ways. Thank you very, very much. So 6:15 is the men and the women shir. Again, I want to say that somebody is leaving their car over Shabbos here in front of the house on the street. You can't do that. Whoever is doing it, because they don't know, you cannot leave a car on the street overnight. Also, I had an early bris this morning, and I had a very hard time getting out of my driveway. It would be good when you park, and believe me, I love everybody parking outside. It's great, but try not to park into the driveway. It's very hard. My wife and I both have cars, and we both have to sometimes get out. And if you park inching up into the driveway, it's very hard to get out, especially when the cars inch out on both sides. It's a little bit difficult. So please don't park right into the driveway. Thank you very much for joining us.